Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are doing great today. My name is Renu Rathi and today we'll be learning our very interesting topic, that is ratio and proportions. Now in this chapter, we will learn about introduction, the ratio, proportion, what is unitary method. We will introduce percentage, conversion of percentage, how we can find profit, loss and simple interest. Now let's start with our introduction. Now there are so many occasions in our daily life where we see that we have to compare two or more than two digits in quantities in respect of qualities or numbers. Now suppose we are comparing heights of Reena and Neha. So what we can do, we know that Neha is taller than Reena. So we have to find the exact value whether we can see that Neha is 2 times taller than Reena. So it means the ratio between Neha and Reena is 2:1. Now let's start with the topic ratio. Now we have learned how we can compare two quantities and we use symbols like addition, subtraction, equal to, and we are comparing them with all of these numbers. Now these comparisons were based on differences. Let us now start comparing quantities by division. Now when we compare two quantities of same kind with respect to magnitude by division, we can see that we have formed a ratio of the two quantities. For example, the ratio of these two will be 5 kg to 5000, 250 gram cake and 5 kilogram cake. So first cake is of 1/20th part of second cake, or we can say that second cake is 20 times of the first cake. So the ratio is 1/20. Usually this is a symbol we use to express the ratio, and the above ratio is 1:20 or can be read as 1:20. Similarly, the ratio between two numbers is 2:3. Usually a ratio is expressed in its simplest form. So the two quantities in a ratio is called the terms of the ratio. First term is called the antecedent and the second term is consequent. The order of the terms in a ratio is important, and the ratio 2:3 is different from the 3:2 because the ratio 2:3 means 2/3 and 3:2 means 3/2, and they both are not equal to each other. Here we have to find the ratio of the following. So 48/84 is 4:7. 200 gram to 404 kilogram, that means 4000 gram, and it becomes 1:20. Here is our example number 2. Here we have told that your father height is double of your younger sister age. We have to find the ratio of your younger sister height to your father's height. So let your younger sister height be x and your father height be 2x. Then the ratio will be half, that is 1:2. Example number 3, we have told that out of 720 students, 280 are boys and the remaining are girls. We have to find the ratio of boys to that of girls. So total number of students 720, number of boys 280. So number of girls will be 440. So the ratio of number of boys to girls is 7:11, and similarly number of ratio of boys to total number, that is 280 by 720, that means 7:18. And similarly ratio of number of students to number of girls, that means 720 by 440, that is 18:11. Now here let's start with the dividing a given number in the given ratio. Here are the working rules, and the step 1C is that firstly we will obtain the given number. Let it be any number, suppose A. Then we will obtain the ratio to which the number is to be divided, and let the ratio be even ratio A2. Then we will find the sum of the terms of ratio, that is we will add A1 with the A2. Then we will use the following formula to obtain the two parts. That is, first part is A1 upon A1 plus A2 into A2, and second part is A2 upon A1 plus A2 into A. Here's our example number 4. Here we have to divide 108 into two parts in the ratio of 4:5. So the sum of terms in the ratio is 9. First part is 4/9 into 108, that is 48, and second part is 60. So the two parts are 48 and 60 respectively. Now always remember that similar procedure is used to divide a number in more than two parts in the given ratio. Now let's start with the comparison of ratios. The working rules are, here we can compare the given ratio, and the step is firstly we will obtain the given ratio. After that, in the step 2, you will express the ratio in the form of fraction. Then you will find the LCM of the denominator that you obtain in the second step. After that, you will obtain the fraction and its denominator. Then we will divide the LCM that we have gotten in the step 3rd, and then we will multiply the numerator and denominator by a fraction. Then we will apply the same procedure to fractions, and denominator of the fractions will be same. Then we will compare the numerators of the fractions, and then the number having the larger numerator will be larger than the other one. Let's understand it better with the help of our example. Here we have to compare the two ratios 5:12 and 3:8. So the LCM of 12 and 8 is 24. After that we have converted them into equivalent fraction. Now 10/24 is greater, so that means this ratio is greater. Now second is we have to find the ratio of 24 centimeter to 2 centimeter. So here it will become 24/200, that is equals to 3/25. 30 hours to 3 days, and we know that 1 day is equals to 24 hours. So 3 into 24, that is 72, 30/72 hours, and the HCO of these is 6. Dividing by 6, it becomes 5/12. After that 300 meter to 1 kilometer, that is 300/1000, that means 3:10. Then 150/1000, that is equals to 3/20, 3:20. In example number 7, here we have to find the cost of a plain page, that is 20 paise, and the cost of a notebook is 10 rupees. We have to find the ratio of their cost in simplest form. So here the cost of notebook is 20 paise and it is 1000 paise. So 20/1000, that is equals to 1:50. Now next is our example number 8. Here we have to divide 420 between Raman and Murli in the ratio of 5:7. So the sum of 5 and 7 is 12. Raman's share in 5 in 12 is 5/12. Murli's share is 7/12, and Raman's share is 420 into 5/12, that means 175 rupees, and Murli's share is 245 rupees. Now here is our example number 9. Here if A ratio B is equals to 5:8 and B ratio C is 18:25, then we have to find A ratio C. That means A ratio B 5:8, B ratio C 18:25. When we multiply both, B got cancelled and A ratio C is 9:20. Now let's start with the proportion. Now when two ratios are equal, then terms are said to be in proportion. For example, 2:3, 8:12 are equal, so they are in proportion. Always remember A ratio B is equals to C ratio D is also written as like this, or simply we can say that A by B is equals to C by D. So in general, if the four quantities A, B, C, D are said to be in proportion if both the ratios are equal and the numbers are respectively called the first term, second term, third term and fourth term. Now considering the following picture, here the actual height of a tree upon the actual height of a house is equals to the height of tree in photograph to the height of tree in the house. Now in a proportion, the first and fourth term are called the extremes or extreme terms, whereas second and third term are called the middle terms or means. Now in a proportion, product of extremes is called the product of the means. For example, if A ratio B is equals to C ratio D, then AD is equals to BC, and ABCD are in proportion. Here's our example number 10. Here we have asked that are these in proportion. So 40:30, that is 4:3. This is our again 4:3. So yes, they are in proportion. Example number 11. Here we have given the first, second, third and fourth term, and we have to find the second term. So the second term be x, then we know that product of extreme is equals to the product of mean terms. So x is equals to 168/8, that is 21. In another example, here we have given A ratio B is equals to 5:7. Then we have to find the value of these terms. So first is A ratio B is equals to 5:7, that is equals to K. Then we have to put the following: AB 5K and BB 7K. Then when we have put it the value, then 50:11 is our correct answer. Now let's start with continued proportion and mean proportional. Now three numbers A, B, C are said to be in continued proportion if A, B, B, C are in proportion. Also if A, B, C are in continued proportion, then A, B, B, C are in proportion. That is, these numbers are AB ratio is equals to BC. If A, B and C are in continued proportion, then B is our what? The mean proportional between A and C. Then we can also say that A ratio B is equals to what? B ratio C. Now the product of extreme is equals to the product of mean terms. So AC is equals to B square is our mean proportion between A and C. Now is our example number 13. They are in continued proportion. We have to find the value of x. So that means product of extremes is equals to the product of the means. So x square is equals to 6 square and x is equals to 6. So the value of x is 6 here. Next is our example number 14. Here we have to find a mean proportion between 9 and 25. Let x be the mean proportion. So x square is equals to 225. That means x is equals to 15. Now in example number 15, here which number should be added with 10, 14, 13 and 18 to get the number which are in proportion. So let the number be x, then 10 plus x upon 14 plus x is equals to 13 plus x upon 18 plus x. After cross multiplying and solving these terms, we get x is equals to 2. So 2 is a number which is added between the given numbers to bring them in the proportion. Now next is our example number 16. Here what should be added to this to get the number which are in the proportion. So let the number be x, and we know that product of extremes is equals to the product of means. So when we put them in the ratio and after solving it, x square is cutted with x square and it becomes 40 minus 39x, that is equals to x, and 384 minus 380, that is x is equals to 4, and 4 is a number that is subtracted from the given numbers. Let's start the exercise 6.1. In the first one, which of the following is or are in proportion? 8, 16, 6, 12. So 8, 16 is 1 ratio 2. This is again 1 ratio 2. So yes, they are in the proportion. That's how you can solve the remaining ones. Next is our whole high order thinking skills. Here we have asked that 72 persons are working in an office. Out of them, if 28 are men, the remaining are women, and we have to find the ratio of men to that of women. So firstly, 72 minus 28, that is 12 minus 8, 4, 6 minus 2, 4. Here the ratio of man to that of women is 28 by 44. That's how you can solve the remaining ones. Next is our unitary method. Now the unitary method is one of the most important principles in arithmetic, which allows us to find the value associated to that individual object and also to determine the value of that group of objects. For example, if we have given the cost of 1 dozen is 720, we have to determine the cost of 10 books. Now the problem is solved in two parts. Firstly, we will find the cost of 1 book, then 10 books. Now the cost of 1 book is 60 rupees. Now we have to find the cost of 10 books, so we will multiply it by 10. So 600 rupees is the cost of 10 books. Now here, for solving any problem using the unitary method, here are our working steps. Working rule step 1 says that firstly we express the data in mathematical sentence so that the quantity what we have to found will come out. For example, the cost of one article is equals to cost of given number of articles upon given number of articles. Second is we will determine the quantity corresponding to 1 unit. Then we will calculate the quantity corresponding to required number of units. For example, a worker earns this amount in 10 days. What does his income in 18 days? Firstly, we will find the earning in 1 day. After dividing by 10, this is earning in 1 day. For 18 days, we will multiply it by 18, and this is the earning of worker in 18 days. Always remember, lesser number of days, less earning. More number of days leads to more earning. More earning, more days, less earning. Now next is our example number 16. An aeroplane flies this amount in 5 hours. How far does it travel in 3 hours? So distance travel in 5 hours is 4000 divided by 5, that is 800 kilometers. Then for 3 hours is 2400 kilometers in 3 hours. Now let's start with our exercise 6.2. Here in the first one, we have asked that a train journey of 90 km costs 315 rupees. How much will be the cost of the journey for 120 km? So that will be 315 by 90 into 120. So that is 3 3s are 9, 3 4s are 12, again 3 1 are 3, and 105 into 4, that is equals to 5 4s are 20. 420 rupees is the cost for the journey of 120 km. That's how we can solve the remaining ones. Next is our introduction to percentage. A fraction with its denominator as 100 is called a percent. Now percent is what? An abbreviation for the Latin phrase percentum, means per 100 or per hundredth. Now for convenience, this symbol is what? This is our percentage symbol with multiplication 1 by 100. For example, 18 by 100, that is 18 per 100 or 18%, or it can also be expressed as 18 ratio 100. Now we can say that percentage is simply what a ratio between the two terms, that is second term is arranged to be 100. Now 30% is equivalent to 30 ratio 100 and in the fraction it is 3 by 10. Now conversion of percentage. There are various conversion of percentage. Let us consider the cases for which we have to convert a fraction into percentage. Now case 1 is in the following figure, 2 by 5th part is shaded. So 2 by 5th of 100, that means 40% part is shaded. 3 by 5th is unshaded, that means 3 by 5th into 100, that is 60% is unshaded. So out of 100, 40% is shaded and 60% is unshaded. Now in case 2, here we have to count the number of balls in each color category as shown in the following. Yellow balls, blue balls and red balls. So yellow, blue and red, number of balls, rate is 2 per 10, 3 per 10, 5 per 10. So fraction is 1 by 5, 3 by 10 and 1 by 2. So here the percentage is 20%, 30% and 50%. Now in two cases, if we have seen that two numbers are in the fractional form and are converted in the numbers in the percentage form. Now let us consider a comparative study using the conversion of percentage, that Mohan has got 66 marks out of 75 in maths. Geeta has scored 45 out of 50 in maths. Whose result is better? Now let us find out the calculation percentage of for each of them. So here the percentage of Mohan is 66 by 75 into 100, that is 88, and percentage marks of Geeta is 90%. Now we can see that clearly Geeta got more percentage of marks than Mohan, although her total marks obtained is 45, which is less than Mohan marks, hence the result of Geeta is better than that of Mohan. So it is easier to compare two quantities with the help of percentage. Now first is, let's start with converting a fraction to a percentage. Here are the working rules. Firstly, we will obtain the fraction, let it be a by b. Then we will multiply the fraction by 100 using percentage symbol. For example, it is a by b into 100 to that of percent. In example number 17, here we have to express each of the following as percentage. So 4 by 5 into 100, that is 80%, and when we convert it into improper and then multiply by 100, it becomes 525%. Now next is how we can convert a ratio to a percentage. Here are the working rules. Step 1 says that we will obtain the ratio, say a ratio b. Then in step 2, we will convert the given ratio to the fraction, that is a by b, and we will multiply it by 100 using percentage symbol. Let's understand it better with the help of our example number 18, where we have to express it in the expression in the percentage form. So 6 ratio 5 can be written as 6 by 5 into 100, and that is 120%. 30 by 80 into 100%, that is our 337.5% in our percentage unit. Next is our converting a decimal into a percentage. Here are our working rules. In step 1, firstly we obtain the number in decimal form. Secondly, we will convert the fraction by removing the decimal point. In order to remove the decimal, we will divide it by 10, 100 or 1000 according to the number of digits. And in the step 3, we will multiply the given fraction by 100 and put percentage symbol to obtain the required percentage. In example number 19, we will express each of the following as percentage. So 0.037, that is 37 by 1000 into 100%, that is 3.7%. It can be written as 0.2%. Now let's start with converting a percentage into how we can convert a percentage into a fraction or a decimal. Here are our working rules. Step 1 says that we will obtain the number in percentage form. Step 2 says that we will change the percentage into fraction 1 by 100 in place of percentage symbol. For example, here we have to express percentage as a fraction. So percentage is removed by 1 by 100 and it becomes 23 by 20. Firstly, we convert it into improper fraction and upon 100 is added, so it is 1 by 8. Again, here we have to express it into decimal fraction. So we will divide it by 100, this is 0.255, and when we divide it by 100 it is 0.15. Now how we can find the percentage of a number? In day-to-day life, we have come across various situations where we can find the percentage of a number indeed. Now let us look at the working rules, how we can find the percentage of a number. Working rules is, firstly we will obtain the given number, say x, then we will obtain the required percentage, that is say p%, then we will multiply x by p and divide the producer of p into x by 100 to obtain the required p% of x, that is p by 100 into x. Here we have to find these. So 30% of 180, that is 30 by 100 into 180, rupees 54, and for this it is 300. Now let's start with exercise 6.3. In the first one, here we have to express each of the following fractions as percentage. So 1 by 5 into 100%, that is equals to 20%. That's how you can solve the remaining ones. Now let's start with the profit and loss. In our day-to-day life or routine, we have seen various articles from the shops where the shopkeeper purchases articles from the wholesale or directly from the manufacturer by paying a certain price, whether it has a loss or a profit. Now various terms related to these prices are cost price, selling price, profit and loss, etc. Now let's look at the cost price. Now the price at which article is purchased, cost price, and selling price is the price at which article is sold, that is selling price. Now what is the profit? The difference between the selling price and the cost price is positive, then the difference is our what? Profit. Now what is the profit? Profit is our selling price minus cost price. Now loss. If the difference between the selling price and cost price is negative, that means it is the loss. That is loss is equals to cost price minus selling price. Now usually what a merchant do? A merchant has to spend more money on freight, labor or maintenance on the purchased article. So the extra expenditures, what we call them overheads, and overheads are what? Overheads are essential part for the cost price. Now what is a cost price? Cost price is the payment which a manufacturer has given while purchasing that article plus the overhead charges. Now generally the profit and loss is expressed as profit percent or loss percent, and it is to be keep in mind profit percent or loss percent is calculated on what? On the cost price. So profit percent is profit by CP into 100 and loss percent is loss by CP into 100. In example number 23 here, if the profit made on packet T is 4 rupees and the cost price of the packet is 20 rupees, and how much is the profit percentage? That is 4 by 20 into 100, that is 20%. In example number 24, here we have said that a man sells his scooter for 18,000 rupees and makes a profit of 20%. So that means the cost of the scooter is 100 then profit is 20%, so the selling price will be 120 rupees and the CP is 100. So if the SP is 18,000, that means the cost price would have been 15,000 rupees. Now let's look at example number 25. Here we have to find the known values from the following. First is CP, SP is given, we have to find profit or loss. So profit is SP minus CP, that means profit has happened. In the second one, here we have to find the cost price, selling price and profit is given. So profit is equals to selling price minus cost price. So cost price is 2,269.5 rupees. Next is our example number 26. Here we have told that Neha bought 1600 bananas at this amount. She sold 900 of them at 2 for 1 rupees and the remaining at 5 for rupees 2. We have to find her gain or loss percent. Now cost of 1 dozen is this much. Cost of 1600 is, we will multiply it by 1600, that is 500 rupees. Now the selling price of 900 bananas at a rate of 4 rupees is 450 and the selling price remaining is 700 bananas at the rate of 4 rupees 2 is 280 rupees. Now the selling price of 1600 bananas is 730 rupees and the cost price for all the 1600 bananas is 500 plus that selling price of 1600 bananas, that is how much? 730. So if now we know that selling price is greater than the cost price, that means here we have gain percent, profit has happened. So 230 rupees is our what? Gain, and the gain percentage is 46%. Now let's start with our exercise 6.4. Here in the first one we have told that a vendor bought oranges at 26 per dozen and sold them at 5 for 13 rupees. Find his gain percentage. So gain percent will be gain upon cost price into 100. So the how much the vendor bought oranges at? The cost price is 26 and sold them at how many? The selling price is 13 into 5. That's how you have to solve the remaining ones. What's high order thinking skills? Here the cost price of 8 books is equals to the selling price of 6 books. You have to find the gain percentage. Now next is our simple interest. Now whenever we borrow money from lending sources such as banks, financial institutions, so we have to pay some extra money as a source of lending. Now this extra money depends on what we want to borrow and the period of time for which we wish to borrow it. Now this extra money is what? It is called the interest. It is usually as a percentage of borrowed money, which is called our principal. Now on the other hand, when we deposit money in a bank for keeping it safe, we earn some amount of interest, and interest is calculated according to what? According to the agreement which specifies the rate of interest. So generally the rate of interest is our what? Percent per annum, which means per 100 per year. Here for example, a rate of 10% per annum, that means 10 on 100 rupees for 1 year. When interest is calculated simply on the original principal, it is known as simple interest. But when the interest for a specific period is added to principal, then that sum is our what? Amount. Now we know that amount is what? Principal plus interest, and simple interest is what? P into R into T upon 100, where P is our what? Principal, R rate per annum, and T is our time. Let's look at example number 27. Here we have given that a sum of 800 is lent for 1 year at a rate of 1800 per annum, 18% per annum. We have to find the interest. So principal is given, rate is given, and time is given. After putting it into the formula, interest on for 1 year is 18 by 100, that means 144. So the required interest is 144 rupees. Now in example number 28, Anita borrowed this much amount from her friend at a rate of 12% per annum for 2.5 years. We have to find the interest and the amount paid by her. So principal 400, R is 12%, time is 5 by 2 years, interest rate is 12 per annum, that means interest on for first year is 12 rupees, interest on 100 for 5 by 2 years is how much? 30 rupees, and interest on rupees 1 for 5 by 2, that is 30 by 100, and the amount she paid is 120, and the amount to be paid is principal plus interest, that means 520 rupees. Now let's look at example number 29. Here we have told that a money lender wants 1/5 of the amount loaned every year as a student. What will be the rate of interest if a farmer borrows 5,000 for 1 year from the money lender, and what is the amount he has to pay altogether? So the money lender wants 1/5 of the amount. So that means the money lender gives a loan of 100 rupees and the rate of interest is 20%. Interest on 1 year is 20 and interest on 1 rupees for 1 year is 20 by 100. And the interest for 5,000 for 1 year is rupees 1,000. So the amount to be paid is principal plus interest, that means 6,000 altogether money has to pay to the money lender. Now let's start with exercise 6.5. In the first one, here we have told that Ramesh borrowed 7,000 from a bank for 1 year at a rate of this percent per annum. What is the interest he had to pay? So this is our principal, and interest is what? Amount plus principal, and amount is what? P into R into T upon 100. And that's how you can solve the remaining ones. Now let's start with the chapter and exercise. In the first one, here we have to take the correct option. If x by 5 is equals to 24 by 40, we have to find the value of x here. So 24 by 40, that means 8 3s are 24 and 8 5s are 40. So the value of x is 3. That's how we can solve the remaining ones. Next is our horse here. If in a proportion the first, second and fourth terms are given, we have to find the third term. So how we can find the third term? Let the third term be x, then 217 into 32 by 112 is equals to x. That's how you can solve the remaining ones. Here's the assertion and reasoning that you have to solve it by yourself, students. Now I hope you have understood the chapter pretty well. You just have to practice exercise, question, and don't forget to revise this topic again.